If I had told you just 10 years ago that a battle scene as moronic as this here, AI Slop, would be the stuff of public entertainment, you would have formed a picket line and chased me away to a safe distance, wouldn't you? But this is the AI Slop takeover, and even ThemeTube deserves some credit for trying to crack down on this. Welcome to the classic dodgy AS, or artificial stupidity, channel dose of history as it takes on the 1815 Battle of New Orleans. You see, my beef is specifically the shit standards that AS channel purveyors have in running the pictures and films that the AS program spat back at them when they placed an order, and they should have just discarded crap like this. Instead, they ran it because they have nothing but contempt for you, the viewer. Hey, I know what this schmozzle reminds me of. You guessed it, it reminds me of shockwaves. About secret Nazi weapon, unarmed, reanimated dead soldiers who are completely invincible, by the way. Which is based on a true story, by the way. Well, let the obligatory sonorous sham-potted history speak.
It was rumored that toward the end of the war, Allied forces met German squads that fought without weapons, killing only with their bare hands.
Couldn't give a rat's fat ass. Couldn't give a rat's fat ass. Couldn't give a rat's fat ass. And that's just the deja vu that these mindless plotting fuckwits, which the narrator calls elite veterans, bring to mind. Daft crap is never far away. Like, why is this man clutching a naked blade? Let's plunge deep into it. Now, whereas that is a reasonably accurate flintlock, every other gun in the movie is fantasy. Everything about these muskets is horribly wrong. Look at these mechanisms. There's no way they can actually ignite the gunpowder. There's nowhere to put it, even the priming powder. And then there's the foresights and backsights. They're huge. They're taken from modern weapons. They would only obstruct your view completely of the target. That's all they could achieve. And then there's the ramrods. Notice how they're only a few inches at the end of under the barrel. They should go all the way under the wooden part, the stock, and then get tucked into a tunnel inside the stock. That's what the metal bands are there for, to hold them in. There's no way to reload this weapon or to fire it. You see, these fuckwits have got no pan to put the gunpowder in for the cock to strike and cause the ignition. Don't go off half-cocked. Yes. Likewise, we've seen that their ramrods, this thing, go down to about here. Not all the way. You know, this thing. And then there's the sights. Note also the sights on our flintlock. There is a foresight and a rear sight, to be sure, but nothing like as obtrusive as in that AI Slop video. We see a British soldier in fairly accurate 1815 uniform, but the AS program can't leave well enough alone, and although US soldiers wore a roughly similar uniform, blue instead of red, the AS soon gives them mutant mix headgear, half 1770s tricorn, half 1815 shako. Yeah, they couldn't make their mind up, could they?
Some forgotten
and just look what the dumb computer did with Washington, D.C. How the hell did it not know that these buildings are far apart in reality?
The Capitol, the White House, all of it reduced to charred
And
shells.
for the next piece of gratuitous stupidity, World War I soldiers. I wonder if he typed in 1915 instead of 1815. Oh yeah, and they've all got the same face, and they're all playing laughing clowns.
In those men died. They advanced in perfect formation into a
Now what's the bet he typed? Portray the wounded general in the style of a bullish British Empire battlefield glory art extravaganza, and fill it with so many blunders that it can command its own New Zealand warship. No, I'm not done yet. You've been good, and I grant you more smart-arsery. For real, any of these 6 cretinous boners should have convinced this guy to delete this fucking picture result.
That was perfect.
corridor of death, from which there was no escape what they saw. But to understand how this slaughter became inevitable, you need to
Why didn't you throw this stuff to the Schützenhausen, as Germans would say if they spoke bad German, and they don't? The British still have 0 casualties when they are several yards from the Americans, despite the Americans so considerately ramming the muzzles of 4 cannons into their own faces for them.
know what brought these two armies to this strip of Louisiana. Side has achieved a knockout blow. The Americans had
Now it's time for another hilarious own goal in showing a fantasy weapon in loving close-up, which proves that it would be impossible to ignite the gunpowder in the pan, the blue bit, there being no flint to strike the sparks, and fire the weapon in that lovely cloud of white smoke. Oh yeah, I think I forgot to mention, he has 3 fucking hands!
then, in August of 1814, the British delivered the most humiliating blow of the entire war to protect their
Have you
territory.
noticed that the
Instead,
instant content
they found
creator has
themselves
asked
bogged
the
for
AS
psychological
program to put
devastation as much
erratic
as American
lines and
The
grainy
young
artifacts
republic,
all over the
barely 3
screen
decades
to
old,
simulate the
watched its
appearance of
symbols
great
of governance
antiquity?
reduced to smoking ruins.
This reminds me
And the
of those
British had also
fuckwits who
failed
take
to crack
photos
Fort
of
Inman,
historical
stopped cold
reenactors,
by the
like, say, Cook's first landings in Australia in 1770, and then filter the photo into black and white or sepia tone, because they didn't have colour film back in 1770. Well done, well played, great research there. Just like they didn't have colour film in 1815, 11 years before any photography was invented.
what he has
So
is a
go
motley
for it,
collection of
toss in
fighters
those
that no
squiggles
European
and white
general
lines. It'll look
recognizes an
just
eye.
like
There's martial law
1815
across the
standards of
entire city.
photography.
A decision that
Look, here's the 1826 first photo ever taken, looking out over rooftops.
concerns the British.
And no, British veterans of the Battle of Salamanca, 1812, did not wear a door greeter magnet saying Salamanca. I checked.
Fought at Salamanca, and civilians up and confident in tone.
This fantasy gun not only can't be fired, it also can't be sighted due to pointless duplication of sights.
What did Jackson actually have to work with, and what were the British sending against him?
Another tip, dude, when the AS program spits back a picture of guns protruding from inside sandbags with their triggers inaccessible and with fly swatters jammed into their muzzles, just discard the damn thing, will you?
Explains everything about what
No, by 1815 nobody seriously would grind away at a mortar and pestle, mixing together the 3 powders. At the cannon itself, gunpowder came out of factories, wet mixed and dried, every grain having the 3 powders in the right proportions.
regulars, militia, pirates, and frontiersmen
And furries too. Look, the raccoon tails were worn on the hat, not like
and
a
the clarity
fucking
of a
tail.
simple defensive from New Orleans.
It's unclear how
formed their
many
own
stars
units,
are on that
fighting for a
flag,
country
but
that
it
grants
clearly
them
isn't
only the
15.
thinnest sliver of city.
Reject pics like this. Take particular note of the gun held by the man on our right.
Jackson orders his
Another
men to
World
deepen the
War
canal
I
into
pic
a
from
proper
100
ditch
years in the
and pile
future.
the
Note
excavated
mismatch
mud
between
into a
flying
rampart
dirt
behind
and
it.
the actual
Cotton
shoveling
bales,
actions.
hundreds of
Yet again, the Americans are on the wrong side of their barricade. and the cannon are cited to present a grave danger to them.
And wooden ladders to scale the rampart on the far side. Their commander is Major General Edward Pakenham, the Duke of Wellington's brother.
No, it isn't. This is a painting of Turkish horsemen. Look, do even you know why you ran with this photo, Dick Muncher?
In-law, a decorated officer. His second in command is Major General Samuel Gibbs.
And as so often happens in the tosspot world of shake and bake AI channels, a completely wrong portrait is shown. This is not Samuel Gibbs. It is Harding Stewart. And the content creator doesn't have enough respect for you, the viewer, to fact-check his results pictures.
Precise lockstep that has been drilled into them since their first day in uniform. This is how they fought in Spain.
Just fuck off!
This is how they defeated the French at a...
For his next brilliant trick, the perpetrator of this video has a barbed wire fence running the length of the ludicrously high American parapet half a century before the invention of
The
barbed
British
wire.
advance is shrouded. The long, low ramparts stretching from the river to the sea understand waiting. They have spent lifetimes crouching.
Dude, why didn't you at least reject the picture that had a pointless, raging inferno on the
Motionless
American
and fast,
parapet?
waiting for a deer
Seriously
to step into
in
the
danger
clearing.
of igniting
Jackson
the
has given
artillery
explicit
gunpowder.
orders. Hold fire, open ground, 300 yards, 250 yards.
Alright, so the AS program probably noticed that grape shot was fired by the American cannons. Grape shot is about the size of grapes, not
300
grapefruit.
yards the Americans
Fix
watch
it.
them come. The field is enormous and silent except screaming
Why
across
are
the
there
open
British
ground
troops
and
slumped
into
over that
packed British
non-existent
formations. The
wall in
effect
the
is
background?
instantaneous and devastating, as if the earth swallowed them. Then the rifles open up.
And when one of the results he got from the AS program was this, he probably thought he had achieved greatness in the manner of those Lady Butler sort of paintings. But it's full of dreadful mistakes, like the man who's got 3 arms. How about the man whose face is in the back of his head, and also puts on his tunic backwards to compound the problem? The US defences were not stone-built. The British were not reeling under the enervating heat of midwinter. The Americans did not flick lit matches down at the enemy either.
A flickering, lethal advance party assigned to carry the
More time-travelling identical quintuplets from 100 years in the future.
has become separate from an army without a head.
I'm guessing he used an artificial child doodling program too.
Continued as lethal as
If you've
advances.
only learned one
killed-
thing from this slopfest, it's that the Americans employed NKVD retreat blocking detachments holding guns to their heads from the no man's land. Well, voila, and British troops lazily standing right behind them on the parapet.
Behind the mud and cotton, some of them Lafitte's pirates.
He said Lafitte, but the caption says Lafayette. The French sent a midwife of the American Revolution many years earlier, and instead he's talking about Jean Lafitte, the pirate scum who fought on the side of the Americans at New Orleans, and you've actually got it right earlier. That is the curse of AS-generated videos.
Men who have spent years hand British soldier in that field.
And the latest mystery mechanism could best be explained with another session of show and tell. This time these fuckwits have got it confused with the pan cover on an obsolete matchlock musket, which no one had used in 100 years.
Your hands are shaking.
Why did you want to keep an image of a guy having a spare parts shelf tipped all over him?
Actually,
This one is an absolute showstopper. The British are facing away, and the Americans are also facing away from the British. Why did you keep it, by the way? The pan and the cock holding the flint on their flintlocks are too far apart for an ignition to happen.
Final organized effort materializes. A group of Highlanders, the 93rd Regiment of Foot, surges forward with extraordinary doomed courage.
Yes, sir, every detail is authentic. Of course, they're Highlanders, so they consist entirely of bagpipers. No actual combat troops, and they march away from the enemy, with lots of debris flying around among them. And when
But the
they come under
Highlanders are
fire,
advancing into the same
poignantly,
corridor
we
of
see
death
a
that has swallowed
bagpipe
every
falling
unit
to the
before them.
ground,
The
or
concentrated
levitating.
fire tears silent. The Highlanders' charge represents the last organizers. It is impossible to walk without stepping on a man, dead or still breathing. The redcoats create a terrible visual illusion. At a distance, the field appears to be flooded
And
with
to
crimson,
go with
as though
narration
the
from a
earth itself is
survivor
bleeding.
about how the
It is
field
only as the
appeared to be
Americans move
reddened.
closer that they
Oh my
realize
god,
what
this is
they are
what you
seeing
came
is
up with.
cloth, not liquid.
Do you
But there is
mind?
blood too, enormous quantities of it, too extreme
Now
to
look at
believe.
the
The
amazing
British
Swifty they
lost
pull with the
approximately
casualty figures.
2,000
British
men,
casualties are
killed,
killed, wounded, and captured
in the main
2,000.
assault.
But the next time we
Some
see the figure,
contemporary estimates
it's
run even
morphed
higher.
into 2,000
Some sources record
killed.
as few as
Look, no, don't do that. That World War One casualty figures are often filtered through the same mission creep method.
a ratio of nearly 28 to 1. A third senior officer, Major General John Keane.
No, you dumbass, that is the late, great Sir John Moore, killed on the battlefield of La Coruña 6 years earlier, and the only man Napoleon ever figured was an opponent worthy of his glory.
Commanding one of the assault brigades. Read those numbers again.
Time for another pointless World War One intrusion from far in the future?
In diplomatic sense, unnecessary. 2,000.
Oh my gods, you've laid it on a bit thick, haven't you? And what went wrong with the spelling? Why did you not reject this one out of hand?
That was perfect.
Men died in a battle that didn't need to happen. Of its legacy. The Battle of New Orleans.
Why are the British marching broadside on to the Americans, ignoring them, and the Americans shooting up into the air with no smoke?
The War of 1812 was a source of
So
national
who are these
embarrassment,
guys
a
supposed to
litany of
be?
battlefield humiliations.
These blatantly 2D soldiers remind me of the very first edition of Cossacks, which was also coincidentally the last computer game ever worth bothering with. In reality, you use an AI program trying to come up with pictures and videos, and the overwhelming majority of what it gives you will be unasked for crap. I asked Itubo to turn this old Angus McBride painting of an Aztec party, well, to make it come to life, and it, unasked for, transformed them into Indians and Ethiopians, with heads springing from their chests. I wanted to breathe life into this picture from the Witchfinder General's 1640s book, but this is what Itubo came up with. I wanted a 5-second clip, and I wasted 300 after 300 of my gaming, well, let's call them gaming tokens. Look at this garbage. Was I really asking the Earth? And then there was this picture from the witch craze also of people kissing Satan's butt. How straightforward is it to animate that? This straightforward. Well, this gay forward anyway. God, why did you do that? No one forced you. You told me I would get value for money. I'm starting to suspect that you actually suck. One more time. Oh, God. Well, how about just another picture of demons in a 17th century dinner party? That was too much for... What was that thing? And why are they always Asians? Scene from an 1880 gun battle? Cop this. Or with this Giuseppe Rava painting of a battle between ancient war elephants. Take it away, Itubo! My God, you had one job. What the why did that man's weapon just... I wanted my avatar as the Jaguar Knight from this 16th century Mishtek manuscript to talk, make it talk and save me tons of time in animation. Go for it.
That was perfect.
And still pictures are scant improvement. I wanted the ancient Blemii with their faces and their chests and no heads, mythical of course, to be animated and have Carthaginian chariots ripping across the desert, terrifying them. And it frittered away my tokens on crap like steam engines and equine centipedes. I found these images being run by an AI Slop video about the British conquest of Benin. Just check this one out. Oh god, another equine centipede. So, yes, programs do rip you off, and the challenge for us content creators is to have enough taste to reject most of this shit. Thank you from the Jaguar Knight. Good night.